Gloria's mission is simple: to enrich, elevate, and empower you to become the best version of yourself. Why? Because ultra successful people never stop reaching for new heights, learning new skills, and finding fulfillment. If you're searching for a fresh perspective on life's challenges, The Gloria Show is your go-to source for motivation and inspiration. Each episode delivers valuable insights to help you tackle the obstacles holding you back. So get ready to unlock your potential with Gloria Sloan, right here on The Gloria Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Gloria Show. I am so excited about being on this amazing platform, Thrive Women, for Women, by Women. And today we have an exciting show that we're going to talk about: service on purpose. Living your most fulfilled life by being of service to others. And before we bring our guest on, I just want to give you some information on my new book. I have written a second edition for Life Skills for the Journey. You're going to hear more about it, but I wanted to just give you a plug in right now that you are in for a reading and working treat. Life Skills for the Journey, second edition. It's coming real soon, hopefully by the first of the year. And it is going to be even more empowering because it's going to really talk about more in-depth, comprehensive ways of flourishing your life and doing more with your life. It's going to give examples and tips on how to transform where you are now to even be a bigger, better upgrade of your existing self. It is going to give you so much empowerment. You're just going to want to keep reading it and keep using all the techniques that are in it and try it out for yourself so that you can improve being who you are, have what you want, be able to go for it. You know, I just believe that ultra successful people never stop reaching new heights. And so there's going to be more all about that in the second edition of Life Skills for the Journey. But for now, we're going to talk about living your most fulfilled life by being service to others. And I have an amazing guest who has a story to tell you. Let me tell you, she is going to really highlight an avenue of her own journey. And, you know, I just can't wait for her to get into it so that we can feel the flow of what it's like to thrive, to flourish. So now, without further ado, I would like to welcome my guest, Kimba Williams.
Hi, Gloria. Hi, viewers. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, thank you for coming. I am just so excited that we finally got a chance to connect, as the kids say.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for joining. And I know we've got a lot that we're going to talk about. Before we do, what I want to do is talk about you a little bit and let the audience know who you are and what you do. And then after that, I'm going to give the show to you. And then you're just going to talk for, you know, however long you need to until we take a break. Is that good enough?
That is good. That is fair. And I am excited about it. So thanks so much.
Yeah. But first, I want to share with you a little about Kimba to the audience. She is an award-winning pharmaceutical sales executive turned best-selling author, wellness company CEO, and sought-after international speaker, captivating thousands of aspiring entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and dreamers with her powerful insights on achieving success through her unique pitch, PITCH formula, known as the Pitch Pro, for her expertise in delivering winning pitches. Kimba has won over 15 pitch competitions, Who knew it was such? Isn't that great? And raised millions in capital, a milestone that places her among the first 100 Black women to achieve this feat. Excellent. Her success and transformative message has been featured in Forbes, Vogue, Essence, Black Enterprise, NBC News, and more. Can you imagine this milestone and what she has reached? She is a native New Yorker of Jamaican heritage and resident of South Florida. Kimba is also an avid traveler with a special love for Africa and deep connections across the continent. As a mother of three boys, she enjoys Arabics, reggae music, and continues to inspire audiences around the world to harness their passions and turn them into profits. Kimba's engaging talks from the power of presentation, pitch, and purpose to embracing leadership empower individuals to lead authentically, connect with your purpose, and succeed in all aspects of life. And that is what we teach, preach, and talk about on the Gloria Show. So
Perfect.
welcome, Kimba Williams, to the table.
Thank you so much, Gloria. It's been a pleasure, and congratulations on all your successes. It's
Oh,
been a pleasure watching your rise and you just sort of rocket into
we gonna do
oblivion
this.
with all of your great ideas and the success that you've had. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome.
So now I want you to start off the show. There's so much to know about you, and after the research, the reading, and just trying to keep up, I just want you to jump in where you're comfortable and
Sure.
speak about what you want to speak about for any given length of time. And if I need to interject with any questions or have something to prompt up, I'll kind of like let you know that. But you have so much to empower, to let other women know that they can do this.
Right.
And by your example of how you started your company, your business, and I just can't wait to hear about that Pitch Pro. I am just excited about
Well,
that.
let's get into it.
Go
Fantastic.
right ahead.
Absolutely. I love it. So first of all, it's 2024 and we are in such a interesting place. And I think specifically as a Black woman, we feel like we have sacrificed our souls and our spirits and our minds and our rights for so many. And
Mhm.
oftentimes we feel like we walk away with nothing, with not having won anything, without the prizes. And I think women overall, but particularly women of color, are in a place where they're looking for something else. And they have been basically feeling like they've been in a rut for so long. But many of them are stuck in the same jobs, in the same careers, in the same relationships, in the same situations for years because of fear of making the next leap into something that they really, truly love. And what I found for myself was that when I let go of fear and embraced faith, because I believe that the two cannot coexist. If you are a biblical woman or if you are a woman that believes in a higher power, God, you understand that both fear and faith cannot coexist. So it's one or the other. And every day, if you make the choice to lean on faith and not fear, you'll find that, in fact, you can leave a life of feeling like you're in a box, feeling like you're in a rut. And although it's uncharted waters, you, in fact, will find that you can live your most fulfilled life. And really, the way that you do that is by being in service of others. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how that happened for me, how I figured out how to be service to others by using the gifts that I was ultimately born with and didn't even know that I had. So this story kind of starts out in, I would say, the third grade. I was 8 years old and I was in Miss Butler's class. Shout out to Miss Butler. God pray she's even still alive. This has been many, many moons ago. So poor Miss Butler, hopefully she's well. I was a talk bot. I was a smart kid. I was an honor student and I got great grades. But my mother would get calls about every couple weeks. Hey, listen, Kimba's a great student. There's no problems, but she keeps talking. She doesn't stop talking. Her classmates are getting, disrupted. She's cracking jokes. And so it wasn't that I was a class clown, but it was that I was bored. It was that I knew the material, that I could add and subtract and multiply super quickly. I was actually deemed gifted at the age of 8. And I was like, what are y'all doing? Because I just would rather crack jokes than not pay attention. And so I got in trouble for talking. But Lord only knows that talking and presenting and speaking would become the gift that I was so fortunate to have. And so you'd be surprised, I think, ladies and gentlemen, that some of the things that people recognize about you that come so naturally for you, and that are the things that you do with such ease and with such love and fulfillment, are probably the gifts that you don't even know you have. So pay attention. So that would be lesson number one. Pay attention to the whispers and the world at large that tells you you always do this, because what you always do that feels natural to you is probably a gift. And so, I would go around and Miss Butler would say, you know what, in order for her to stop talking, let's have her teach the other kids. So I became a little bit of a co-teacher. Now, mind you, the laws around, child labor, I'm sure were certainly in effect, but I enjoyed being a little teacher's helper. So I'd buzz around the classroom, and these were my friends. At 8 years old, I had really buck teeth. So, shout out to my mom for getting me bracelets. I wore these pink, huge glasses. My hair was not relaxed. It was in its natural state, and it kind of stuck up anywhere it wanted to. My mom would affectionately call me buckwheat because it just would just fly. And I didn't mind because it was just who I was, and I embraced who I was. I was cheeky and funny, but also, a bit nerdy, and I embraced the nerdy. And my friends respected it. They said, listen, we've known her since she was a kid. We all grew up together in New York. I'm a native New Yorker. And they loved to learn from me because I understood who they were. And I felt like I could really connect with them on levels that poor Miss Butler couldn't. This was an all-Black school, and Miss Butler, bless her heart, was a Jewish woman who probably just couldn't connect the way that I could with my peers. So when it came to helping Tony with math, he played basketball. He was a star. I would help him say, listen, if Michael Jordan's got 3-pointers and he's shooting 5 of them, how many is that, right? And Tony would get it. Or I would be talking to Rebecca and saying, listen, Beck, all you got to think about is the dance line. Whatever it was that they were interested in, I understood how to make an authentic connection. And that was another gift that I didn't know that I had. Being myself, not afraid of being who I was, but bringing the gifts that I had to other people authentically also became something that I was able to leverage as I got older and as I started growing companies and building teams and looking to see how can I truly be authentically connected to people, because that's the difference. I think so often we're in the social media age where people are trying to make connections by way of the best pictures and their best representatives online, right? We're going to come with the best of ourselves, but no one gets to see your buckwheat hair. No one gets to see you without makeup, and no one gets to see you at probably not your best times. But it doesn't mean that this thing here, this brain, this mind, this spirit isn't still alive and well. And so I think we have to challenge ourselves to come outside of what we think people are looking for and truly present our most authentic selves. That's where you find the best connections. And that's when people begin to know, like, and trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And so those two gifts, talking and being able to build authentic connections, really started when I was quite young. So fast forward, I ended up going to Spelman College. And so shout out to Spelman College, the world of Black girl magic, as I like to call it, in Atlanta for college. I was the first one to go to college in my family. So I come from humble beginnings. My family had immigrated from Jamaica back in the 70s. I was born in the 70s. So don't let the looks fool you, Gloria. I'm a 70s baby.
I hear you.
And some people say, well, you guys, you millennials. I'm like, who? Not me. Listen, I didn't grow up with laptops and phones. We had no idea. The internet was just coming around when I graduated from college in 1999. And so I am sort of this cusp of millennial plus Gen X, but I'm truly a Gen Xer. And, Spelman really emboldened me as a woman of color, as a Black woman, to be the leaders. There were so many times, I would say before that we, as women, I think we find that we defer to men a lot, particularly in educational and classroom settings. So we'll let Tommy and Johnny take the lead. We'll sort of sit back. But at Spelman, everybody's a woman, everybody's a
Mhm.
Black woman, and everybody's empowered. So you will be the leader, you will be seen, you will speak, and you will learn. And it really just forced us all to the top because we understood that whoever's going to lead is going to be amongst us. And so, what a powerful lesson for me, coming from this cute kid with the hair that flies and big old glasses to, much of the woman that I am today. And so I have to give so much credence and so much credit to Spelman for doing such a beautiful job of technically raising
Yeah,
young adult women,
yeah.
into who they become. So our parents, my mother was on her own. My father passed away when I was very small, and my mother never remarried. When I was 4 years old, we lost my dad. And so, shout out to my mom for doing everything she could to get me prepared for this world. And then I think Spelman took the reins from there. And between those two, I
Hmm.
became this curious intellect that was easily okay with being my authentic self. And so I jumped into the corporate world. I worked for Coca-Cola since I was in Atlanta. So shout out to Coca-Cola. I'm going to have a lot of shout outs today because I do want to give people their props and organizations their props for, pouring into me in times that I didn't even know I needed to be poured into. So when I got out of college, I was very fortunate. I had 3 job offers. Now these days, people get this college diploma and they're like, what am I going to do with this piece of paper? Because it's not, it doesn't mean as much, I think, as it used to. And not that it doesn't mean as much, but the opportunities don't flow and don't allow themselves they don't present themselves as they used to. And the world has changed. There are people who are opting out of the college experience and moving right into jobs that never even existed. And so the world that I knew back then, which was get a job or go to the military. First of all, it was go to college, get an education, go to some sort of post-secondary school, or go to the military, then get a job, and then perhaps get married and have a family. That's not even the story anymore, right? The name of the game has changed. And I'm still shocked because I have my own children. I have 3 boys, ranging from 12 to 21, because again, I'm not a whippersnapper over here. And I'm just shocked. And the ones my oldest didn't follow that track, and I'm just devastated. But I'm thinking, you know what? I need to settle down because
Yeah.
life
Calm
life
down.
is very different, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to look like my journey in order to be right. My journey isn't the only journey that makes sense, that is productive, that makes money. And I think we've been so programmed in my generation, and the ones moving forward, I applaud them for being courageous enough to say, I'm not doing it the way that everybody used to do it, and I'm really going to find my own way. But in order for them to do that, I think they need to pay attention to the things that matter most, finding your gifts and truly being authentically connected, because it's the people in your lives that'll get you to the places that you want to go to. And so that message transcends any generation, any age, at all times.
That is
So,
some good advice. That is
yes.
some great advice from a parenting standpoint. So I
Hmm.
applaud you for being able to present that to them. But I just want to piggyback a bit on a comment you made about what you learn when you're in certain environments and how Spelman prepared you, but not only how the corporate world prepared you. Just the other day, I was speaking with a fellow author. Well, and she was talking about speaking at an event, and I just need to interject this for a minute
Yeah.
because we were talking about careers, and she said she's a little more senior and been around for a little longer, and she said something similar. She said after college or in high school and after college, her models were school teachers. That's
Hmm.
who she knew. And back in that day, during her time, she said that's what she related to as a career. So she said when they asked her what she wanted to be and what she wanted to do, she just a teacher came
Right.
to her mind. And so she said she went into teaching with that attitude because back in that time there was nothing else presented to her in the environment, and
Right.
all of her role models were school teachers. They were
Hmm.
teachers.
Right.
And so she didn't know that she could really be anything else because that has been embedded. So I'm just bringing that point to now so much has changed. And now you have an opportunity to expand on that with what you're doing. And interesting, you're introducing now that big change to your children
Yeah.
because there's so many more opportunities now that are available. But I just wanted to let you know that back many, many years ago, and for those of us who grew up way a little bit before you, we experienced the limitations of
Yeah.
that. I just tell you, I grew up in the civil rights era.
Mm.
Oh, trust me. So
Oh,
I
I love
know.
it.
So I know about that. I was the first Black student to graduate from all white high school. So I got some
Wow.
stories very similar. So what I'm saying is, having grown up in that environment, we were so limited to what they thought would be our dreams. So hearing your story, talking about your journey and how you have taken what you were embedded with and expanding. There is even more to come about your story. I just
Yep.
needed to interject that for a minute.
Yes.
You really hit on it good. So give us some more. Talk about
Yes.
where you were after you went to Coca-Cola. If you don't mind, pick up from there and continue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was fortunate. Before I decided to work for Coca-Cola, I graduated with 3 job offers, which was fantastic. And it just goes to show that, life is so interesting. The job offers that I got was with Toyota Lexus in LA, California, so Los Angeles, California. The second offer I got was with American Express in New York City. And then the third job offer I got was Coca-Cola Company in Atlanta. So it was like, pick your poison, right? You could be anywhere you want to be. I had never lived in the West Coast. I went to visit LA, hated the traffic, decided that wasn't for me. Sorry, LA. I'm not feeling it. And then it was expensive. And so I said, you know what? I don't know that California is it for me because my family is still back in the East Coast and I would miss them dearly. And then I went to New York City. Of course, I'm from New York, but I'm from Brooklyn and Long Island, so not Manhattan, but it's all the same at the end of the day. I went up there, did the interview, had a beautiful time, and said, well, I don't know if the money's enough because I know New York's expensive, and I'm actually sick and tired of the cold because I had grown up in snow and boots and earmuffs and the whole nine, and I wasn't about that life. And so it ended up being Coca-Cola. I had interned with them while I was in Spelman. So for those of you who are poo-pooing internships, it really matters. I interned with them for 2 summers, and one with the marketing department, one with the sales department. And at the end of the day, they both actually had 4 job offers. They both offered me a job. So they said, you've got a job either in the marketing department or with sales. Which do you choose? And I chose sales because what I got with that was autonomy. There was no office. I got a company car. I got an American Express card to pay for lunches and dinners with clients.
Mhm.
And then I got a set of luggage because they said, we expect you to be with us for a while and we want to see you go places. And I took that station wagon company car with the wood paneling on the side and thought I was the bomb.com.
Wow.
And I drove off into the sunset and said, I'm starting my life day one. Now, let me tell you a side story. Years later, of course, we all experienced 9/11, September 11th, 2001. And remember, I graduated in 1999. So that was about 2 years later from me graduating. September 11th happened. Well, remember the job that mentioned that I had gotten with American Express. I had dug up that letter, that invitation letter. Congratulations, we want to select you as an employee. The address that it came from was One World Trade Center. I would have been at the World Trade Center working in New York at the time of 9/11 had I accepted that job. I have goosebumps to this day.
Wow.
And so you know, there were reasons why I didn't choose New York, but I sat down and was like, I could have been there. And, prayers go out to the families who lost their loved ones and friends who lost loved ones, but I could have been there. And
Mm.
so the lesson there is trust your instincts. I didn't
Mhm.
know that was going to happen. It wasn't the reason why I didn't choose New York, but there were other reasons that were pulling me to Coca-Cola and to stay in Atlanta. And so I did that. So always trust your instincts. Your
Yeah.
gut is that quiet voice that I believe is a divine spirit guiding you. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just have to choose to shut up and listen to the voice, right?
That that is so true. We really
Yeah.
have to do that, even in my coaching experience, from talking to people about professional development and personal development.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to let them know that they need to listen to that gut feeling,
Yeah.
and until you experience that. But the good thing is the amazing offers that you
Yeah.
did have
Yeah.
that spoke to your credentials, your background, your experience. And people really coming just right out of college with no experience at all, and just saying this we want you to try this. I was speaking with someone again on yesterday, as a matter of fact, and she was saying that her son did not go to a regular traditional college but chose another avenue, and was disturbed because he couldn't get the job locally in the city they were in. And he had a friend in Atlanta that he hooked up with, and some company immediately hired him right off the cuff with just what he had, and said to him, "We've been looking for someone just like you."
Yep.
So, just like you say, you never know until you put it out there. So his mom, again, was like, it's not the avenue that I thought he was going to go in, but the mere fact that you can have more than you have, and someone else can recognize that. So from your own experience, you see that. And every day when we coach, we listen and we talk to people, I hear so many experiences of people who took another route, another avenue, and it worked out great for them. So I am just still applauding you as you're sharing your story and all that you've done and where you are. And we're not even halfway finished yet.
Not even.
No, we're not even halfway finished. We're just getting to the good stuff, because you still got to talk about the pitch formula. And
yes,
I am just so excited. So since we still have a few more minutes before taking a break, I do want you to just kind of start, in on that, so we can build up to what we're going to be excited for in a few more minutes. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So that was really a lot about how I became who I am today. And so fast forward, I worked for corporate America for about 15 years, the Coca-Cola company for half that time. And then I went into pharmaceutical sales. And again, those industries did an amazing job of just teaching me how to sell, right? Coca-Cola's brown sugar water, essentially. But they are one of the most globally recognized companies in the world. And so how you take the training and the amazing experience from that company and sort of pour into me was super beneficial. But there was a time after I was in pharmaceutical sales for some time, selling drugs. And so really the joke became, well, I went from selling Coke to selling drugs. And it's like, ha, ha, ha.
Oh, wow.
But they were all legal. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But from Coke to drugs, maybe that'll be my next speech. Medicinal drugs, of course. I got sick and tired of watching people stay sick and tired, right? So now I'm in the pharmaceutical industry. I'm in and out of hospitals. I'm talking to doctors about cardiovascular medicines for people who are literally so far gone that it's either very difficult outcomes, heart attacks, or taking this medication. But I recognized that I didn't want to stay in sickness. I was on the wrong side of things, right? I was such a positive, optimistic person, and it was really weighing me down. And I decided I wanted to be in the side of wellness, but I didn't know how to get there. And so I discovered this formula about how to do the things that you really want to do. And it's threefold. First of all, I knew that I needed to find what I loved. So first things first, you got to find what you love. If you want to make a leap from what you're doing to what you want to do, you got to find what you love. And I love to talk. And again, I used to get in trouble for talking, right? That gift, I went back to that gift. Find what you love. I love to talk. And so I wanted to teach, but I didn't want to necessarily teach in the traditional classroom. I wanted to teach broader. And so I used that idea to leap into entrepreneurship, because I said, if I can teach others about the things that I loved or that I knew how to do, then I could find my way. So the first company I started was called College Path in 2013. And I started College Path with the idea of helping students of color and their families get to college, because that's what I knew how to do. I was the first one to go to college. I ended up being very successful at doing it and getting scholarships. So I knew how to do that. And there was a huge industry around that. And so the second thing, once you find what you love, which for me was talking and teaching, the second thing you have to understand is to do what you know. So what I knew to do is how to get off to college. And I knew that college changed the trajectory of my life, and I wanted to sort of bless others to do that. When I started, it was a not-for-profit, and I asked God, if I could just bless one and help one, I would have done my job and I could leave this earth feeling great. Well, it's been thousands of students since then. I went from 2013 to 2020, so 7 years of helping thousands of students and their parents figure this thing out, particularly for first generation students. because education is such it's a huge divide if you don't have it. And it really shrinks the difference between you and everybody else that has access to that. And so I realized that finding what I love and doing what I knew worked out. And then the third thing was that you watch that grow. So those are the three steps. So that's how we're going to introduce it before we take our break. In
All
order to
right.
make the leap from where you are and maybe that you no longer want to be, you feel like it's not serving you, to a place that is serving you, you've got to do three things. Find what you love, do what you know, and then you watch it grow.
I love that. And I have said that for many, many years and to many, many people. You do what you love. And when you do what
Right.
you love, you flourish. You know,
Yes.
you flourish when you
Absolutely.
do what you love. Well, we're going
Mhm.
to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to continue with Miss Kimba Williams. And she's talking about living your most fulfilled life by being of service. And she's got more to talk about her service. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stay tuned.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. Hello, I'm Les Brown. We are going through a time unlike we have ever seen before. It's the best of times and the worst of times. And people are looking for answers. How do I handle all the stuff that's coming at me right now, in and out of the pandemic? How do you see your life? Well, there's a book that has been written by Gloria Sloan, and it gives you some answers. It is a book that you don't just read, you experience this. And part of the process of discovering who you are and how you show up in life has been said that we don't live life as it is, we live life as we are. And Gloria Sloan has written a book that will take you to a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. Life skills for the journey. And the 5 successful approaches on how you take on this thing called life. Each chapter will take you on the journey of self-awareness. Each chapter will give you some keys and clues to upgrade your skill set because we're in a new space. Einstein said, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. Well, guess what? The book that you're about to read, it will help you to upgrade your skill set, your mindset, and your relationships. I'm encouraging you, get this book. I think that Gloria Sloan has outdone herself. I love it. I got it for my children, and I'm recommending it for you. Make sure you get this book, and it will dramatically change your life. Life skills for the journey. This thing called life is not a sprint. It's a journey, and you want to be prepared for it. And I can just share with you that the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next, and she will give you what you need to get to the top. Her name is Gloria Sloan. She's a speaker extraordinaire and an author that has written a book that will transform your life. Life Skills for the Journey by Gloria Sloan. This is Les Brown saying, you have something special. You have greatness in you. Get the life skills you need to make it through. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome back to the Gloria Show. And I have Kimba Williams with me today, and she is talking about living your most fulfilled life by being of service to others. And she is going to pick up where she left off, talking about her amazing journey.
Absolutely. So, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for having me again, Gloria. So, we were talking about the three steps of making that transformative move when you feel like you're not where you want to be and you want to move into a place where you say, I know I didn't come here on this earth to do this, but I really don't know how to get to a place that I want to be in, that I could finally feel fulfilled and even actualized. Well, I've just kind of outlined those three steps. You've got to first find what you love. If you heard my story before, you know that I knew that I loved to talk and I knew that I loved to teach. And I learned that at 8 years old. Unbeknownst to me, those were my gifts. So I found what I loved. And then I had to do what I know. I started a company doing what I knew, which was helping people get off to college because I had done that on my own at 17 and 18 years old as a first generation college student. And I was in service of students and their parents and really blessing them with changing their life story from folks who had the information, had the knowledge, but not the information on how to get it done, and truly changed the lives. I have kids from then, 17, 18 years ago, whose parents still come up to me, oh my gosh, Trevor's now and doing his master's degree. And so I feel like a teacher, but I was in such a different capacity. And that's the other thing you got to recognize. Just because I love to teach doesn't mean I have to necessarily be a traditional teacher. There are so many ways that you can educate. And the third thing then is just to watch it grow. So as you work hard, you got to put in the work. It is never going to be easy to do the things that you want and to live the life you want to live. But at the end of the day, nothing's really easy, to be honest with you, right? So you either choose to be doing something that's fulfilling to you that's not easy, or that's not fulfilling. It's also not going to be easy. So I chose to do the things that were fulfilling to me. And so after 2020, of course, that was before 2020 was what I call BC, before COVID. And so that was 2019 BC. But by 2020, COVID hit and I had to close my business. But God had already planted a seed for something else. And it was a company called Couché that I developed with a good partner of mine who's a physician, Dr. Barbara McLaren. We met on a girls' trip. It was a cruise. I'm supposed to be having a good time on a cruise in a bathing suit on the deck. Meanwhile, I'm building businesses. So maybe that's my idea of a good time. Who knows? But we had a conversation and I was talking to her about getting out of pharmaceutical sales. I wanted to be on the side of wellness, didn't know what to do, was struggling to find natural products for feminine health and feminine care. And she shared a story with me that she was a recent breast cancer survivor. And that even as a physician, an OBGYN who was pouring into the lives of women every single day and walking them through their own, feminine health journeys, that was what she was doing by day, but she was struggling for her own life by night. And it was such a beautiful story that I literally fell to the ground and just wept with her, because I was so shocked that although I felt like this beautiful woman should have all the resources at her fingertips, she struggled to be able to get the resources that she needed during her own breast cancer journey. And she was a physician. And so I said, we have got to do something for women, because I want to do more wellness. You're a physician, you felt the strain of being on the patient side, and there's just something we can do. And so we put our heads together, and a year later, we developed this company called Couché. We went back on the same boat and dragged some friends, gave them t-shirts that said, how's your Couché? And we asked them to run around the boat and to hand out samples of the products that we had developed. Now, for those of you in the back of the class, we're getting comfortable. We're already family now. So Couché, literally, we took the word coochie and we made it fancy. So I need y'all to just lean into that, okay? Just lean in and understand what we're talking about. We're all grown folks here. And so Couché started in 2017 on that cruise. And by January 1st, 2018, I wrote a letter to my corporate company and told them to basically, kiss it and keep it moving. And I started as the CEO and daily operator for Couché. And at that moment, I realized that coming from serving students and their families, I was now in service of women, all women. Anybody with a Couché, I was at their service.
I love it. Okay. Tell it. Talk it.
Yes.
I
And
love
so, and what's so important is that years later, of course, we're in this world now where you can't even define who people are by gender anymore. There are folks that they want to identify as mockingbirds and pillowcases, and that's absolutely fine. But for us, we stand strong on, if you have a Couché, that is who we're talking to. And so we don't even get into the foolishness. We're like, it's about Couchés. It's not called black, brown, yellow, pink Couché. It's just about Couché. So it's really for all women. And so with Couché, I'm now in service of women, helping them make better choices and letting them know that there are healthier options that are credentialed by a physician that only use natural and organic ingredients for their, vulva and vaginal health. Because typically what you find on shelves, according to a Harvard Medical Research study, 95% of those products are laced with toxic ingredients that are linked to cancer, and actually only about 25% effective. So you've got things that are on shelves, no one's doing the vetting. There is no FDA foresight, because the FDA only looks at food and drugs. It's the Food and Drug Administration. But when you're looking at over-the-counter natural products, I could literally just put dirt in a bottle and say it's natural. Now, dirt is natural, But do you want dirt on your couche? Absolutely not. So you have to be careful, And so we went on this huge campaign of educating women. Here's what you got. Here's what you should have. And we feel like an educated consumer, an informed consumer makes the best choice. And we just hope that they find couche in light of all of that and make a really good choice. So we have been selling couche on our own website, couche.com. It's on Amazon in several markets. It's in Whole Foods Market. We're in Wegmans nationwide, a number of beautiful mom and pop natural retailers. And we're now starting to sell directly to physicians because they want some of our products to get to their patients, which is beautiful. We can get to the tribal leader, we can get to the tribe. And so I've worked really, really hard with my business partner to get couche to the masses, and we've still got a ways to go. But in service to others, there have been so many doors and opportunities that have opened. But what I'm finding is that I am fulfilling my most wildest dreams. And I had no idea that by giving you guys those 3 steps that I talked about, finding what I love to do, talking and teaching, and then doing what I knew, which was selling things, right? I was a salesperson all these years, so I'm still selling couche. And then watching it grow, putting in that hard work, literally going to expo shows and slinging 1 bottle at a time, $20 for 1, $30 for 2, constantly on my feet, constantly knocking on doors, constantly asking Whole Foods to take us in. I could watch it grow, and then I could live the lifestyle that I wanted to live. I'm flying all over the world when I want to, which is why I spend a lot of time in Africa, because it's beautiful. And shout out to Delta for platinum status, because I'm always on somebody's plane. The airport hate to see me coming, child, because I'm always somewhere. I'm heading to Thailand, Bali, and Singapore in just a few weeks. I've been to every continent except for Antarctica. Nobody should go there. But I've been everywhere. And actually, I haven't been to Australia. So that's another one of the bucket list. But I've been able to live such a beautiful lifestyle. Entrepreneurship is not easy, but it has certainly been able to give me the life, and again, checking all these boxes of dreams that I want to fulfill because I am doing service on purpose. And that is the goal. And I'm hoping that I'm imparting some wisdom and some information to somebody that's yearning to make a change, but who might be afraid and who might not have the courage to say, listen, I've got bills. There are ways to do it. But again, it's not going to be easy. But if you start with those 3 pieces, you'll find your way, and you can join me on the next plane trip.
Yeah, and that your story is so driven to, you have the blueprint. I mean, the masterpiece of how it's done and how you can do it. And what I love in particular about your story is it's kind of like you start from the beginning. You talk, you teach, you love what you do. And, my thing is repeat. When you're doing what you love, when it's good, when it's successful, you continue to do that. And as we coach people along, this is the message that we want to send to them and that we want to give to them. That you work, and like you say, business is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Everybody would be out here with a business.
All of the entrepreneurs, all of what we know, it takes a lot of work, a lot of courage, a lot of resilience, and even in the good times, the bad times, and the challenges and the risks that we take in doing what we love.
Yeah.
Doing what you love comes with some risk factor, but look at the rewards. I mean, when you look at the ups and downs, I am sure that you had a lot that you had to do, even when you were out there pitching the formula, when you were doing that, and you raised millions doing that.
Yep. And that's part of the journey. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so, back to sales, when you talk to people, so many people are so afraid of sales, the sales industry. So, I mean, there's some people who don't want to touch it. There's some people, I'm going to tell you, I have been a businesswoman for 40 years.
Wow.
And I don't know any other way than to write my own paycheck. And I tell you, it does come with some selling. When you learn how to write your own paycheck, and that's what I call it like it is.
Yep.
When you write your own paycheck, you can have, do, go, build what you want.
Oh, love
And
it.
your story of what you have done from your
Mhm.
humble beginnings to, going anywhere in the world now. And you got to tell me about when you were going talking to the labs about putting all this stuff together to make sure it was
Mhm.
right. That had to be challenging in a way, because
Challenging.
you were putting stuff together for women that would work naturally
Mhm.
and holistically in a sense. And so I am sure that that had to come with some challenges in itself, just getting the lab work done. Am I right?
Absolutely. Listen, what did I know about building products? I was working for product companies. I was working for, drug pharmaceutical companies. I was selling them, and that was great. I didn't know a thing about putting products together. And listen, we're talking about a very vulnerable space on a woman's body. I'm not trying to blow anybody's couche to smithereens. Like, so you've got to be you've got to be careful. And we never wanted to start batching things in our kitchen. We were never going to put women in a place of, exposure and something that wasn't safe. And so we already knew that we had to take it to the top. We've got world-renowned chemists, natural health doctors who understood herbal medicine. I started studying a lot about herbal medicine to understand what botanicals do we have at our disposal that are known to help with inflammation, that are known to help with dryness, things that women are constantly dealing with. And then, of course, we had Dr. Barbara with another group of OBGYNs who said, this is what women are dealing with at every age and every stage of their lives. So we need this. We need natural deodorants for sweaty odors. We need creams to prevent dryness. We need things to prevent chafing. They knew exactly what the women were asking for. And it was our job as a team of chemists and natural practitioners to say, here are the ingredients that are beautiful and natural and botanical and safe and effective that we can use to actually get those things done. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they said, okay, well, what size bottle? What thread cap? I'm like, thread cap? I don't have, what is a thread cap? Who knows? What size label? What do you want the label to be? How are you going to design? What do I know about label design? And so when I tell you that going after what you love is such a steep learning curve, and there's no book for it. There's no,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
nowadays I'm sure I'm doing consulting now, but it's like building a products company, you're going to make a lot of mistakes unless you go find a coach that can kind of help you through it and get
yeah,
you to the resources that they've vetted and they know to be tried and true. But we made a lot of mistakes. We got with a lot of manufacturers who did not want to stay true to our natural formulas. They said, listen, you can spend half the money and just put this, and this in there. But it was crap ingredients that would really cause harm to women. And so we had to fight to keep our formulations, integrity. I mean, and that was difficult. We went overseas, we stayed abroad, we went back to the US. I mean, it was a little nightmarish. And at any given moment, we probably should have given up, but I knew that this was what I was called to do. When I was 10, 12, and even 19, I had no idea I was going to be in the business of vaginas, but here I am. And I can't imagine myself being anywhere else. It's crazy.
well, Kim, I want you to tell the audience and tell the viewers and everybody that's listening, where can these products be found? Where can
Yes.
they go to purchase them? Or, aside from their doctors, are they on the shelves? Tell the audience where they can
Yeah,
find them.
absolutely. So Couche is spelled Kushae. So I have that here, and thank you so much for putting that on here. And you can find Couche at Couche.com, on the shelves of select Whole Foods markets, Wegmans nationwide, Amazon. But Couche.com is where you find the best deals and our entire line of products. And so that's where you can find them. And then I want to say this too, because I want to do some justice to this pitch piece. So because of Couche, a year later, when we started making formulations, we started selling. I left my job. A year later, I was broke. My credit cards were sky high. I was in debt. My credit score was in the crapper. And I had to go back to work to shuffle a little money together to go back out there. I hated going back to work. People were asking me for reports, and I would look at them and say, do you not know that I'm trying to run a business here? And so that's another lesson. Because you run and stub your toe doesn't
Yeah,
mean you should fall
they
down and
just
stay down, right? You find ways around it. Get your toe fixed, get your butt up, get the toe fixed up, do what you got to do and get back out there. And so in 4 months, I got fired, which is hilarious. Because, you look back and say, I don't want your little
Yeah,
flunky job anyway.
hey, but why did you hire me anyway? You knew what I was when
Exactly.
wow.
I didn't want the job. I just wanted the money. And
Yeah,
so because I knew that I only had worked for 4 months, I had enough money to sustain myself for the rest of the year, but the company needed money. And that's when I started going on the trail to pitch. So there were pitch competitions all across the country. And I said, I can talk and I can sell. So that means I can pitch. And I would go flying Atlanta, Houston, New York, all over the country with the one goal of getting into pitch competitions and walking away with big checks. And when I tell you the check started out, $1,000 was my first pitch competition check in 2019. I was so proud. I was like, oh my gosh, I won $1,000. And to this day, the biggest check that I've gotten was 250,000 in 3 minutes. And so it took me 3 minutes to walk onto that stage, do a pitch, and come off with $250,000. And in total, I've raised over $2.2 million.
So,
And
so
so,
just hold it. This
yeah.
money, these are people investing. This is just people buying. How were you getting this pitch money?
Yes.
That's
So
what.
much of it was some were investors and then some were just grants. And so there are organizations who want to support entrepreneurs, in any industry, and you come out and you pitch your business. And I'm up against people in tech companies. I'm up against people in, PR company service-based businesses, but I am really good at talking and selling. And I would walk away with that pitch money every single time. If I get on that stage, I'm winning. And that has been the track record of why I've won over 15 pitch competitions. I'm not coming to play. I'm dropping the mic and I'm walking away with the check.
And you
Period.
do
End of story.
pitch
And
competition, and that's an
yes,
ongoing. That's an international. That's something that anyone can do if they can get into it. You have to have
if you can get into it.
if you can get into it. It's not easy to get
No,
into those competitions because
at all.
they're for heavy hitters, and
Yep.
you had done the groundwork. But I love the part where when you had to stop what you're doing, you had to go
Mhm.
back and get a job for a minute. A
Hot
lot of
minute.
entrepreneurs don't really realize that. They quit the big six-figure job and they get
Mhm.
into starting their own business and think, boom, it's going to happen, and I'm going to make millions in less than 6 months. There are so many people that don't quite understand the
Mhm.
legwork, the groundwork that it takes, and oftentimes it does mean moonlighting or doing something different to
Yes.
recover. Because what people don't realize is the investments that you make
Mhm.
along the way. I mean, my goodness, you're
It's
making
heavy
investments.
up front. It's
Right.
heavy. It's like you got to invest a
Yeah,
lot here and ride it out, but you got to get it here first, and it's
yeah, right.
heavy. Yeah.
So, and to be able to speak to that, because so many entrepreneurs, when they realize that they have to go back and get another paying job to make ends meet, to do this, to pay the bills, don't be ashamed of that. It's
Right.
okay, women, if you have to do that. You
Yes.
do that until you get what you need to do to get back out there. And how did you put it? You just get on back out there, take what
Mhm.
you got from going back in and put it back out there. So that is
Right.
wonderful. Well, listen,
Absolutely.
Kimba, thank you so much for coming on the show and for telling your story, for the empowering and encouragement of women who are listening, who want to do something. Your contact information is available. I encourage any woman who is out there to continue to be empowered and encouraged, and look for the stories like Kimba Williams, who are CEOs of the great and greatest ways that they took what they knew, what they loved,
Mhm.
kept feeding it, repeating it, and look where they are now. Look where
Yeah.
she is now.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kimba, so very much for
Thank
being
you so much.
me. You have really shed a light. Is there anything else or any one final word that you would like to say? You're welcome to do that. If there's a tip, a hint, or anything, I just want to applaud you again for all of your accomplishments and wish you much, much more success.
Thank you, Gloria. Yeah, I just want to let people know that, I do coaching as far as for entrepreneurships and pitching. And so I'm back to being a pitch coach. They call me the Pitch Pro. And so you can find me at kimbawilliams.com. Sign up for, our pitching template to where you can master your pitch in minutes. And if you need support, if you need help winning the next $250,000 for your company, I think that I can help you. So I would love to connect with you all. And also, we have just launched Couché Chronicles, which is our brand new podcast for women, by women, of course, but we're really doing real talk, real women, and real health. We're taking everyday women and understanding that you don't have to be a celebrity to be celebrated. So check out Couché Chronicles on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere you can find a blog or a podcast. And you might be a beautiful guest. So if you're interested in potentially being a guest, connect with me also, KimbaWilliams.com. Send me an email. And again, happy to authentically connect with each and every one of you and to see how I can continue to be in service on purpose. Thank you so much, Gloria. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All the best. We'll be in touch.
Thank you so much. Ciao now. Bye, everyone.
Wow, what a session we just had with Kimba Williams. I mean, her story is amazing. So I encourage all of you to please follow up on her website, get to know more about her success story, and you will be encouraged on your own to get out and make it happen. If you do have any dreams and aspirations of even doing more for yourself. And that's why before I leave you, I want to talk once again about the second edition of Life Skills for the Journey that's coming up. I am so excited to say that second edition is coming out. And if you think the first edition, the first Life Skills for the Journey gave you plenty, you're going to have more, because the second edition drills down enrichment, and it goes deeper into more of a transformation of how you can do it to upgrade your life. The whole thing now is a person being able to invest in themselves to grow, to elevate. And you have to upgrade yourself in life to flourish. And until you learn how to do that, you have to learn how to do it if you don't know how to do it. It's important. You can upgrade your life. You can elevate and you can grow, and you can start exactly where you are now to get to where you want to be even better. And that's what I enjoy. That's my calling, is to help people to do that. I am talking from self-experience, my own story, which I came from humble beginnings. So I know what it's like to work hard, to do what you love, and to repeat it. And now I'm still learning. I have a thirst for continuous learning, to upgrade, to grow, and to get even better. You know, it doesn't stop. Continuous learning is ongoing. So we can keep learning. We can keep investing. Learning comes with investing. So to all of you out there, I encourage you, invest in your life. Invest in where you want to go and what you want to do. Find the avenues that will help you to elevate and upgrade to another level. This is Gloria Sloan with the Gloria Show. It has been my pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you will continue to follow and look for the Gloria Show, where we believe that ultra successful people never stop reaching new heights and never stop growing. Contact me. Go to gloriasloan.com. Thank you again so much for allowing me to share this flourishing opportunity. Goodbye for now.